Hi there, Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist TJ Springer here in the Storm Center for Fox 35 Weather Plus. Hopefully you are having a great Tuesday so far. Sorry I'm a little late, but we are live on Fox Local. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. I know I didn't write it in our little write-up on Facebook and YouTube, but as always, we do have a fun question of the day, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but I do want to hop on YouTube and make sure we're live, everything looks good. If you have any comments, let me see. I don't see anybody. Actually, I do. I have Joel. Joel, I'm imagining this is you, Joel Mathis. Joel, what's up, man? In Claremont, 64. Well, thank you for the report. I appreciate it. Hey, you know what? It's still chilly out there, but it's definitely warmer than what it has been. That is for sure. And while I'm thinking about it, let me make sure we're good on Facebook. Looks like we are. I'm going to share this real fast to my page. Okay. Hi there. Alrighty. Okay, well first, let me hit the question of the day real fast because I think this is kind of a fun one. It is National Cheese Lovers Day. So, are you a cheese fan? And are you, do you like your cheese on a burger? Are you a cheeseburger fan? You just like grabbing a piece of cheese from the fridge? I'm guilty of doing that. Like for a snack, I'll be like, hey, I just want a piece of American cheese or a piece of provolone cheese. William, how are you? I see that you're weighing in on Facebook. You said you went to the movies last night. Did you get popcorn on National Popcorn Day? That's what I'm wondering right now. I'm curious if you got any popcorn at the movies. Alrighty, well that is indeed our question of the day. We'll get back to that in a little bit, but a big story for us locally and across the Southeast is going to be a big time warming trend. So if you're not a fan of the chill and you're ready for some warmth, I think you'll enjoy what is coming down the pike because we are going to have temperatures soaring really over the next couple days, especially by late week. We're going to have temperatures that are getting back up into the upper 70s and 80s, which is wonderful. I have to say I've enjoyed the chill. It's been kind of a fun novelty. We've had a lot of swings with these systems that have been moving through this winter, and it looks like this week is going to be no different. It's quiet out there now. That's a live look over some of downtown Orlando. We're glancing northeastbound. A little more cloud cover. We've started to get into, we'll continue to get into more of an onshore flow as we progress through the remainder of our week. And with that onshore flow, that's going to help temperatures start to moderate little by little. We'll have more of a northeasterly wind as we get into the day on a Wednesday. A little more moisture in the air and a little more cloud cover. But it's been a beautiful day today. We've seen a nice amount of sunshine, just like what we saw on Monday. So zooming things on out, there's a cold front that is moving away from us. There's the area of high pressure. There is a disturbance that is off to our west, and there's going to be kind of a boundary that lifts northbound over the next 48 hours. Kind of a stalled front, essentially, a pseudo-warm front almost, but a boundary that should allow our temperatures to start to warm up. So that's going to be the story as we step into our Wednesday, get into our Thursday. But right now, let's take a peek at those readings because we are warmer than where we were this time yesterday, and that's one positive because yesterday, especially later in the day, it still felt fairly brutal. With the clear sky, temperatures were able to drop off fast. Right now, we're pushing 5 to 10 degrees warmer. 10 degrees warmer in the Villages, in Bushnell, and St. Cloud, 8 in Kissimmee, 7 in Orlando. So it's feeling pretty good out there, all things considered. Right now, we're in the 60s. But notice near the beaches, it's still a little cooler. Palm Coast, Daytona, you're sitting in the mid to upper 50s. But inland, it's pretty dang nice, and it feels better when you put things in perspective because we've had the cold wind chills, had those down in the 20s and 30s the last couple of days. So we're going to say goodbye to those for the time being. And just a little heads up, we are at 3:38 right now. And if you are watching us on Fox Local, we are going to have a quick little break coming at you here at 3:40 for 2 minutes. If you don't want to miss anything, you can hop on YouTube and Facebook. You can weigh in on our question of the day, and you can also just weigh in if you have any questions about the upcoming weather. Tim, what's up, buddy? How are you? Say hi to Daria for me. Yeah, it's going to be a close call. I'm going to dive into everything on that winter storm in a moment, and we'll have a little report as well from one of our other meteorologists here on the storm team. But yeah, that track is going to be key in how strong that area of high pressure is when these two waves start to phase. So it's going to be certainly a big story across the country, that is for sure. Wind chills right now, not a big factor today, at least right now. A lot of improvement compared to where we were, say, 12 hours ago, 10 hours ago, if you were getting out early on this morning. Tonight, still probably want to go out with the heavier jacket, around 36 in Gainesville, 39 in Ocala. But then we're back up into the upper 40s in Orlando. And that's still cool. Still probably want to go out with the heavier coat on Wednesday morning. But closer to average, nonetheless, right? Andy, how are you? How's it going? I know the temps better, Andy, right? Now, you have to let me know how it compares to you across the pond. Joel, I'm with you. I would, now that we're talking about cheese and cheeseburgers, I think a cheeseburger sounds good, but I was kind of bad. I had to be honest, I had Taco Bell for dinner last night, so I probably got to get something a little healthier tonight. Try to get something with a lot of color in it. Bonnie, how's it going? Yeah, keep it. You're liking the cold. I mean, hey, we'll preview that in a moment, but we are going to get more chill coming down the pike. Okay, so here we go. Tomorrow, notice the temperatures. We are back into the lower to middle 70s for many of us, including Orlando, Winter Haven, St. Cloud. So this is right around average for this time of the year for our Wednesday. Alvin, you're saying bring on the heat. I think a lot of people are probably agreeing with you. Ed, how's it going? Bonnie, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that Melbourne is pretty. I can imagine so. Now, if you have any outdoor plans over the next couple days, not really turning unsettled in a big way, but slightly unsettled for our Thursday. Our Fox weather model showing that onshore flow looks like a little upstairs energy. There is a front, a disturbance to our northwest. And kind of in here, you can kind of see across the southern half of the peninsula. That's that boundary I was talking about that is kind of lifting northbound and bringing that potential for a couple of showers. Chances pretty limited, higher to the south of us. But it's looking like we'll keep that chance as we head through the day on Friday. Just going to hold on to that. Lori, how are you? What's up in Palm Bay? How's it going? Glad you're hopping on. Okay, so welcome back, Fox Local friends. 3:42. If you want to ask any questions, if you want to weigh in at all, please bring up your phone, bring up your Facebook page or YouTube page, and you can ask a question. But I want to jump into the winter weather. I know that's not going to be a huge impact in Central Florida per se, but it'll indirectly impact anyone here if you're traveling, if you're trying to fly northbound, westbound, or if anyone's traveling to Orlando. So this is Futurecast, and there goes that system. Now notice out across Texas. and the Gulf. There's an area of low pressure that is starting to develop. And with this area of high pressure to the north, this Arctic air is going to get unleashed, and that's going to feed right into this moisture. So we have, remember, if you haven't heard us say this before, we have essentially two different jet streams. We talk about the jet stream as a whole, but there's the Pacific jet or the subtropical jet. There's also the northern stream jet. And typically, that one is more responsible for the cold, and the subtropical jet, the Pacific jet, that can kind of be more responsible for the moisture stream when you have a system like this. So in this case, we're starting to see snow break out in portions of Kansas and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma as a whole. And notice the northeasterly wind, the northerly wind pumping into the system. So even in Texas, it's looking like we're going to have that potential for winter weather. So let me zoom in here. I want to go back to this, and we'll kind of take you through time. So this is 1 o'clock Friday, and you're seeing that mixed precip, freezing rain. Notice that changeover there in Dallas. And this is where, ice is bad anyway, even little bits of ice. But when you could have a stronger developing system, a half inch to an inch of ice, that could be crippling. That could take down power lines. That could ground you, keep you indoors. Travel essentially becomes impossible. And that's something that we're going to have to watch, not just in Texas, but eastbound as well, anywhere from southern Arkansas into Louisiana, and eastbound into the Carolinas and Georgia, portions of Mississippi and Alabama. Notice even Jackson right on that icy mix line, sleet and freezing rain. Huntsville, Alabama, Atlanta. And then from there, as you look north and eastbound, you're seeing more of a snowy scenario from northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, Kentucky, northern Tennessee into northern North Carolina, then the Mid-Atlantic, Virginia, the nation's capital, the Delmarva. So it's going to be a big cross-country mover, and it looks like it could bring the potential for widespread travel delays, widespread traffic headaches, too, if you're traveling on the roadways. So this is something we're going to continue to talk about. But for us, you can see in Central Florida, we're north of the warm front, so we're going to be well above normal. So we're getting two extremes here. We're getting the cold. We had that this week, and now we're going to flip the script and we're going to get in on the warmth. So, Andy, I know, interesting forecast for sure. Hi, Alice. How's it going? Thanks for hopping on. Bonnie, it's going to be a close call. Austin's going to be likely right on that line. And again, things could still change. This is still a fluid situation. So it depends on how strong the area of high pressure is, how far suppressed this system is. A lot of things to iron out. The changeover in precipitation type plays a role too. It's just living in places that have gotten winter weather. Winter weather is one of the trickiest things to forecast, just because of little nuances and how they can change the forecast in such a big way. So I wanted to pull up this. I know you've heard us mention ensembles on the air before. This is a map that gives us a good handle. It's essentially a blend. It's 50 different scenarios. That's how we get the name ensemble. And this ensemble data is pinpointing the likelihood of snowfall greater than half a foot. So, as we go through time here we go. This is Friday. You start to see chances going up across Oklahoma City, across central Arkansas, a likelihood of snow getting past 6 inches. And seeing the oranges and even the reds, That's an 80 to 90% chance across, say, Roanoke, Richmond, Virginia, Virginia Beach, coastal Virginia, coastal North Carolina, areas that, sometimes don't get this kind of winter weather. That's another thing, too, while I'm thinking about it. Areas south that could have the freezing rain, that icy mix of sleet and freezing rain, snow, rain. Crews that are in play in northern communities that get winter weather all the time, they're necessarily not equipped to handle this kind of thing. So that's another thing that we're going to have to monitor. Sarah, how's it going? Thanks for hopping on. Okay, just to let you know, it is 3:48. We'll be taking another quick break on Fox Local at 3:50, and once we get back from that break, meteorologist Brooks Garner, he's going to dive into this winter weather a little more as well. But before we go to break, let's go back to the question of the day. If you are just hopping on, is National Cheese Lovers Day. Here we go. Alrighty. What do we think about this? Do we love it? Do we hate it? I gotta say, I'm a fan of goat cheese. Love goat cheese. I haven't met too many cheeses I don't like. I like Gouda. Oh, I like feta cheese. Ooh, love that. Okay. So that's the cheese talk for today. So, alrighty, in about 20 seconds, we'll hit that break. If anyone wants to weigh in on the question of the day, please don't be afraid to do that. And a little teaser for the 407, which begins at 4 with Marlisa. We could be having some cheese on the show, maybe some fondue. So, kind of plays in. All right, Fox Local friends, we'll be right back. Facebook friends, YouTube friends, don't go anywhere. We're right here. Well, wait, if anyone's watching from afar, who's ready for this wintry wallop, this cross-country wintry system? Because it is going to bring the potential for widespread impacts, a lot of snow for a lot of the country. I feel like we haven't seen a system like this year. I'm trying to think. I know we're kind of in the bubble here in Florida, but I can't think of one, at least off the top of my noggin. But I do want to get back into said forecast, and I want to go back to the snow probability here. Okay. Now, ooh, Andy, applewood smoked cheese. That sounds really good. I love that. Sarah, you're saying it's really cold in PA. I can imagine that. And you're saying you love all kinds of cheese. Ooh, high ham and cheese. I'm jealous. That's awesome. Save one for me. I'll be right up. Excuse me. Okay, so this is where we left off before we went back to the question of the day. A likelihood of a half a foot of snow or more, and I'm thinking that there could be some spots that pick up over a foot of snow or more in some of these bullseyes with this area of low pressure and these snow bands that develop with that system, especially across the mid-Atlantic as we get some of the coastal moisture wrapping into that system from the Atlantic. So a lot to unpack there. Speaking of the snowfall that I was just talking about, you can see as we head through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Welcome back, Fox Local friends. Notice the pinks here. This is showing around a foot or more, including the nation's capital. And again, this is a blend too, so this gives us a really good handle on how things are going to unfold. Charlottesville, Richmond, Virginia Beach, Raleigh, even Winston-Salem, and then even snow potentially as far south as Greenville, South Carolina, Atlanta even could see a little bit of snow in addition to that potential icy mix. So there's going to be a lot of winter weather. And with the icy mix, let's go into that real fast before I toss things over to Brooks. The ice accumulation, look at this. Amounts that could surpass maybe half an inch to an inch in those darker shades of pink. So we'll continue to watch this because this is going to be, again, a huge story. But for more on that, let's toss things over to Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner. Hey, Brooks.
Well, hello, meteorologist Brooks Garner here, and tracking some huge changes coming our weekend. First off, one thing is not like the other. Let's take this full. You can see it probably pretty clear as day, even on this monitor. But Florida is red this weekend, and that is because we are exempt from winter. We are going to step aside, let winter pass on by, and it's important because with this huge temperature contrast, there's a huge winter storm system right on our doorstep. And this is a major winter storm with freezing rain from Dallas through Birmingham, Atlanta, Columbia, South Carolina, Charlotte into Raleigh, with a band of heavy snow north of that. Now for us, we're going to be lounging by the pool hearing about this on TV. And we're going to enjoy it while we've got it, because ultimately our number comes up with some cold weather before this month is out, but we will not be catching the winter portion of this system. But we've got to talk about this because we're going to have major travel disruptions starting this weekend, especially Sunday, and they could bleed into Monday and Tuesday easily. Whether you're flying or driving up into this region, because there's going to be a surge of Arctic air working into the southeast. That combined with the jet stream from both the north and the subtropical jet stream phasing right over the middle of the country from Oklahoma right on into Kentucky is going to result in a really heavy precipitation event in blue of snow and in pink of freezing rain. That's liquid rain that freezes on contact with whatever surface it reaches on the ground, whether it's tree limbs, power lines, and when it accumulates, it can reach 2 to even at times in the most extreme cases 3 inches thick. And that's called an ice storm. It can bring down limbs, power lines, even entire trees, knocking out power for days, if not weeks on end, where it hits the hardest. And that's a potential in some communities. It can also make travel nearly impossible, especially with trees across the road. I personally experienced one of those living in the Northeast in 1993. It was a superstorm in 1993. It dumped about 3 inches of snow, and then on top of that, about 2 or 3 inches of ice. It was something I'll never forget. And we may be looking at something somewhat comparable, not to that heavy snow potential, but at least to the icing potential. Now, there will be a band of heavy snow between 10 inches and as many as 18 inches look to be the most likely in the hardest hit areas. And for the southeast and the mid-south, that's a huge accumulation. On top of that, when you have a wide area of icing, there could be major travel troubles, not just Sunday, but continuing into the middle of next week in a lot of cases. Now, this is not going to be one of those systems that you want to show your kids snow for the first time in Florida and make the drive up to Georgia, because you're not going to see the snow on a good day for at least an 8 or 9 hour drive. You got to get up into Tennessee and the Carolinas. But the problem is you're going to run into freezing rain before then, and there's a high likelihood it could at least double your travel time. It could take you 18 hours to get into the snow zone by car from Orlando, if you get there at all. Because a lot of times in these situations, they close the interstates, or there's big accidents that lead to just incredible backups that can last for a day. So it's not recommended that you even bother with that, because you're just going to hit freezing rain before you see anything resembling snow. But this will continue into Monday. We'll be on the warm side of this thing from the Florida end of things. Now, as far as total impacts go and snow totals, there will be a band of very heavy snow from roughly Danville, Virginia, west through the Breaks Interstate Park of Kentucky, Virginia, into Bowling Green, and then southwestward through the border there of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, that region there by Tennessee near Memphis. And then you get into the icing, which will hit from, say, Raleigh, Durham into Virginia Beach, Norfolk, westward through Skippers, Virginia, and into Charlotte and into Brevard, western sections there of beautiful North Carolina, into Tennessee, and also back into northern Alabama and Mississippi, even into DFW. So there's going to be just huge impacts with this, whether you're in Virginia or you're in North Carolina or you're in northern sections of Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. Yeah, Birmingham's going to get hit by this one. It looks like once you get down to Huntsville, it's kind of like a mix of rain and sleet, not many impacts there, and it's just going to be wet along the Gulf Coast. But there may be snow between Dallas and Houston, or at least some freezing rain, I should say, once you head up toward north of Huntsville and heading up I-45 if you are familiar with that stretch. All right, Now, back to what I said originally. While we're going to be living easy, or I should say the living will be easy this weekend with the warm weather, it's not going to last for long. In fact, there's a greater than 80% chance that we're going to see a surge of Arctic air here before January's out. That doesn't mean we're going to have wintry precipitation here in central Florida, but it does mean we're probably going to have more frost and freeze before we get into the warmer month, at least by Florida standards, of February. Once we get into mid-February, we start to catch that upswing of warmer spring weather. But until then, we're not out of the woods yet, although we will be this weekend with a much warmer weekend, free and clear of any wintry precip. But if you have flights to the major hubs, I'm thinking Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, even Washington, and into New York, there are going to be many delays and cancellations starting Sunday and potentially lasting through Tuesday of next week. All right, that's the latest from our future winter storm. Could be a historic one for the South that people remember for years and years ahead. Back to you.
Thanks, Brooks. Yeah, it is going to be a storm that we'll probably be talking about for quite a while, and not just, I mean, quite a while, like through the rest of the week into the weekend, but just through time, because whenever you have an event, a big icing event, a big snow event, is one that sticks with you, as Brooks was just hinting at. So be sure, if you have travel plans, be ready to make adjustments, be ready to maybe change flights, or if you need to divert and try to change your flight, drive even. But just know, when you have heavy amounts of ice, of that freezing rain that we were talking about, travel is going to become treacherous. And even with snow, I mean, some of these major hubs for airports certainly going to be dealing with a lot of delays in flights. I can only imagine, because you're talking about Dallas, Charlotte, DC. So, and then all the ripple effect from there. Alrighty. We hope you have a great rest of the day. I know that was a lot to talk about, but we'll outline more through the days ahead, and we will see you on Wednesday. Have a great night.
Well, hello, meteorologist Brooks Garner here, and tracking some huge changes coming our weekend.